Number 5. Stop competing for him. Brute ain't cute. No, honey, those aren't the kind of dukes he wanted to see you with. It's always excruciatingly embarrassing to see 2 or more women on a talk show or some reality show reunion fighting over a guy who's sitting on the stage smirking about it all. I should note that it's also very rare that the man for whom they kill is anyone who could even remotely be considered a catch by anyone besides those particular women. Rarely are they good-looking. Rarely are they rich. Very rarely are they educated, and rarely on roids are they good to either one of the women. So, if women are fighting over the likes of these men, just imagine the battles that take place, the wars that are waged over men with a mere morsel of value, or, heaven forbid, of decent to high quality. Regardless of a man's quality quotient, it's never a good idea for a woman to fight or even argue with another woman over him, and while certainly coming to blows over a guy is approaching the extreme, it is not the only wacky way in which we fight for he we think is ours, and by fighting, I mean competing. Think you're not fighting for him because you don't have your dukes up? Think again. Here are some other ways you may be or may have fought, aka competed, for a man. Comparing yourself with and trying to outdo other women in his life. Hating on other women or being catty over him. Putting on a show for others when you're with him, for example, squeezing his hand extra tight when another woman crosses your path. Criticizing his new or current girlfriend or wife. Betraying your own gender with the tired old sellout statement, "I'm not like most girls, women." Making your home a hideout for a deadbeat dad. Fighting his battles for him or with him, even when you know he's dead wrong. Have you been competing? What's been your competition style? Think about it, and then discontinue it. The truth is, we as women never have to compete for the man who is really right for us. The aforementioned are some less extreme ways in which we compete for a man. The next 2 ways are at the more extreme end of things and should be avoided at all cost. Number 1, hoeing around. There's something about married. Hoeing around is a major way in which we sometimes compete for a man. But first, allow me to clarify. As used in this book, a hoe, not to be confused with a whore, isn't a woman who enjoys sex. A hoe is not a woman who feels free to succumb to her sexual urges, who sleeps around, etc. A hoe, as I use it in this book, is short for home wrecker. Sometimes we temp, other times we put in full-time hours, but in either case, we are never provided with any insurance. Many of us may find this kind of work too demeaning to do altogether and pass on such a gig. Good job, by the way, because it can happen to even the best of us in an emotionally weak chapter of our lives. No matter how you arrived at such a point in your life, it is essential to your well-being that you recognize you are dead-ass wrong. That's really, really wrong, for giving your good lovin' to a low-life cheater with absolutely no intention of leaving his wife, 3 children, 2 dogs, and a frog. Which he shouldn't, by the way, since that would make him akin to the devil. Just saying. Before you take another call from Satan's sibling, take this 60-second quiz to find out where you rank on the horometer. The comprehensive hoe assessment. Number 1. Do men who are unavailable seem to appeal to you more than those who are single? Is there something about married? Number 2. Would the same man you turned down last month have had a better chance at being with you if he wore a wedding ring? Number 3, do you suddenly liven up in the company of other women's men, even if they aren't particularly attractive? Number 4, does your voice get higher? Do you blink 3 times as much? Does your chest coincidentally seem to poke out further than it has all day when around your friend's man? If you answered yes to one or more of the above questions, you need to submit your letter of resignation and start a new romantic path right away, because you are indeed a home wrecker. Home wrecking is not a smart path to be on, as it will only leave the following in its wake. pain, tears, humiliation, guilt, regret, ridicule, embarrassment, hate, paranoia, bitterness, thoughts of vengeance, bad karma. If you were a first-time offender, don't beat yourself up too bad over your slip in judgment because, as you just read, karma will address this with you one day, usually when you least expect it. Sorry, but the karmic ass-kicking is definitely queued up and coming. So instead of guilting yourself to death while you await this spiritual spanking, why not resolve to treating yourself better and to treating your fellow women better? This goes triple for repeat offenders. Relationships can be challenging enough without us tipping around with each other's men. We all deserve better. We must battle against selling ourselves short. When we inject ourselves into someone else's relationship, we can cause a lot of hurt. We can cause emotional injury to ourselves, to him, to his wife, to his children, and, depending on the outcome of such a clandestine affair, even our own families. What's more, being someone's side piece is beneath us all. And not only is hoeing hazardous to your mental, emotional, and psychological health, depending on how passionate, aka crazy, the legitimate woman is about her man and their relationship, it could even end up being hazardous to you being alive. Number 2, criminal-minded madness. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but as I just alluded to, sometimes a person's passion can result in some serious tragedy for one or all parties involved in a particular relationship or love triangle. You really don't want to fall among the statistics of women in prison, on death row, or already dead because of some relationship they just couldn't resist or let go of. Let it go are 3 of the most underappreciated, unobeyed words in modern human history. Though often hard to execute, no pun intended, they are the most important words following a breakup or other type of rejection. If we are to move on, this would be step 1. Aggression may also be expressed on a much smaller scale. It may take on the form of threats or trash talking. The hypothetical scenarios that we tell others that begin with, if she, and ends with, I'm going to, are examples of competing with another woman in a dangerously unhealthy way. Let's stop all of this. We mustn't let our emotions get us into trouble. Reality shows may have us thinking that threatening to physically harm someone is normal and acceptable, but it's not. Just watch Oxygen Snap to get an idea of the kind of fate that awaits a woman who just couldn't let it go, or who thought she could get away with getting another woman out of the way. You will find no happy endings. Stay strapped. A good soldier always stays strapped. He or she never enters into combat without the proper weaponry on either his or her hip or around his or her waist or shoulder. Likewise, a smart woman stays strapped. Her weaponry is always around her shoulders. It's her bra. She keeps her bra on, meaning she never leaves home without her dignity and integrity. She stays strapped in the healthiest way. Snapless Broads Unite. Before He Cheats is a hell of a catchy song. I sing along to it myself when I hear it playing over retail store speakers, lip-syncing perfectly on cue as if I were Carrie Underwood herself. However, Carrie didn't sing about the likely aftermath of such a revenge-filled rampage. She skipped the part about the arraignment, the subsequent trial and sentencing. You see, Miss Underwood didn't take into consideration that some of us won't want to stop at busting up his truck, but instead have some irresistible urge to take the bat to him next. Some ladies may want to turn that Louisville Slugger into a Louisville Slug him, forgetting that even the hottest chick ends up looking like a busted broad once she's in the penal system. Why even flirt with violence this way? Don't let penis land you in the pen. Again, watch Oxygen Snapped or Women Behind Bars to get a preview of your life, or the end of it, should you be tempted to go the retaliatory route and take things fatally too far. He ain't worth it, dead or alive. Don't you dare snap. Keeping yourself together is your job, your obligation, regardless of someone else's actions or choices. Stay strapped, not snapped. In addition to potentially landing us in big trouble, competing with another woman for a man is truly a fruitless endeavor, a frustrating waste of time and energy, because usually when we do this, we're competing with other women in ways that won't win us the war, and we're fighting with the wrong weapons. Bringing a butt to a boob fight? Don't be presumptuous, ladies. Don't be fooled by your hungry ego. A man's compliments of you can give you a false sense of both comfort and superiority. Just because a man constantly compliments you on your big behind, for example, doesn't mean he won't be extremely attracted to someone who has very little to show for in the buttocks department. Just because the guy you like or the guy you're with is always talking about how nice your double C's are does not in any way, under any circumstances, mean that he won't leave you and your carbon copies for a double A cup wonder. Nor does it mean that because he often tells you he could get lost in your ocean blue eyes, that the next brown-eyed babe who walks into the room won't give him whiplash. You see, the things that you believe are his exclusives, his non-negotiables, or requirements of a woman may only just apply to you. Time and time again, women are shocked to find out that their man is messing around with someone that they themselves perceive to not be on her level. She doesn't even have a butt. My man likes something to hold on to at night. Or her face looks weird. Or she's fat, etc., etc. Criticisms like these will have you looking foolish in the end. And when you see your man on a news feed with someone you mistakenly thought you were superior to in his eyes, because the real fact of the matter is, men like women. They like all different kinds of women. They like different things about different women. Perhaps your long hair or full hips are what he most appreciates on you, but Sharon's long legs and small little backside coupled with her beautiful big eyes are what he most appreciates on her, and maybe her attributes on her trump your attributes on you to him. It's the luck of the draw, ladies. So here's the remedy for all this mistaken sense of superiority. Understand that men can appreciate, and most certainly do, a variety of different qualities on a variety of different women. Don't assume that his passion comes in one flavor, or that his desire are under your sole proprietorship. Don't deduce in error that because he likes chocolate ice cream, it must mean he doesn't like vanilla cupcakes. He likes it all. They like it all. The truth is, you don't know what dynamic is in operation when it comes to a man's attraction to someone else that you, in your mind, consider to be not his type. The tall, lanky girl he's looking at may remind him of someone from his past that he still holds dear. The short, plus-size girl's laugh may be warm and contagious in a silly and fun way, and he finds that it's just the kind of giggle therapy he needs after a hard day at work. A particular woman may have both obvious and hidden qualities that a man you enjoys. That's not to take away from you, however. You're still the same beautiful queen that you've always been, so don't start looking in the mirror, scrutinizing yourself once you find out about his vanilla cupcake stash. Don't go running to Dr. Plump-It-Up to get those lips injected, because it's not about what you're not. It's simply about what he happens to be attracted to at a particular moment in time. Like while he's standing at gas pump number 3 eating his dollar burrito and a woman walks by with all her woman parts with her, and all of a sudden she's the one he's been waiting for all his life. At least until the lady in the Lexus drives up at gas pump 4. You just can't predict what a man will do or who may catch his eye the moment you take yours off him. So what the heck? Drop competition from your romantic toolbox and pick up some unwavering self-esteem. Beware of begos. Your eye may not pop out of its socket and dangle by its optic nerve, and your teeth may not rot and reassemble themselves in binary code fashion, but like any other zombie, you'll definitely run low on gray matter when you suffer from this self-esteem lowering syndrome. Begos, bruised ego syndrome, can turn you into an illogical, unreasonable, obsessive, competitive, bad decision-making monster. Sometimes when you're rejected by a man unexpectedly so, you can become jealous of anything with a pulse and would want to fight a 90-year-old lady if the man who just dumped you looked at her twice. Or in the case that he begins dating someone else, your replacement can look like an extraterrestrial. But through your bego's afflicted distortion vision, she's giving every supermodel a run for their money, and you hate her. Beggos can have you begging back Quasimodo or begging for the return of lost attention from a man that your reasonable mind knows is ridiculously unworthy of you. The unexpected rejection mutates the sanity DNA in your brain. You could have been secretly plotting how to get rid of this subpar person, but he beat you to the punch, or lost interest in you. Or perhaps another woman has entered stage left, and suddenly this gross, rude, soulless, lying, cheating, intellectually impaired, lacking in all things lovable, miserable chunk of mass becomes Idris Elba meets Nikola Tesla meets Superman. Don't let this man of steel rob you of your joy, dignity, or decency. He's the same old dirtbag you didn't want in the first place. Be glad his ass is gone, and let E.T. have him.